I hold in my hands 4 years of schoolwork. This is really heavy. Last week, I posted a picture on my Facebook and my Instagram of my son's high school binder. It's almost finished for all of his high school years. We finished school this year. And at the end of the year, I put together all of his paperwork for this. And I have been keeping this, oh, goodness, for 4 years now. But I have been doing record keeping and portfolio making for a lot longer, since we started. Now, I had so many questions about this, and I'm going to try my best to answer all of them, but a lot of them were the same couple of questions over and over again. So we're going to talk about this, and hopefully this will give you some ideas if you want to make one of these. So welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy. I'm a homeschool mom of 10 years, and I have a graduating senior and a incoming 9th grader. So I've been doing this for a while, and one of the things that I started at the very beginning, because we are a military family, is I started putting together a portfolio. Now, I did this for one big reason, and this is one of the big questions that I'm being asked over and over again about this portfolio. The reason I put together this portfolio is because we're a military family and we were moving from state to state. And every state has different requirements. And actually our home state, which we did not move back to, our home state required a portfolio. And I was kind of preparing myself to move back there, you know, just in case it was an option after my husband got out of the military. Now, we didn't end up doing that, but just for the off chance that we happened to move back there, I wanted to make sure that we had the proper things for that, and I wanted to have like a record of everything that we did. So I did two things. I kept a portfolio, and I'll show you this too. I kept all of my planners. I have a ton of homeschool planners in my homeschool room in this crate, and every year when I'm done with my Mardel planner, I put it up in the crate. So I have planners dating back to 2015 when we started with the Mardel planners. And yes, I've been using my Mardel planner for that long. I have used it every year except for 1 year, I think. And I love the Mardel planners. They are just the best. This is not a requirement of my state. This is not a requirement of the colleges. And that's the other thing I was asked was, does the college require this? My college does not, and I haven't read about any college that requires a portfolio. It's just something that I put together, and honestly, I'm glad I did, because now I have a way to kind of look back at the projects and things that we did, and going through this was so emotional. So I'm gonna go over a little bit of what is inside this and how I put this together and what's inside. If you want to make one, or if your state requires one, obviously do what your state says, have the things in there that the state requires, but this is just for me. This is just for mom, for like a, I don't know, like a memento type of thing. But it's also like a good record to have, just in case, you know, anybody ever questions anything. I can just be like, here, he did high school. So let's take a look at what I have. So for each of my kids, I have a 3-inch binder. These things are a monster. However, when you use it for 4 years, it gets a little full. So, it is quite full. I have everything in here from test booklets to pictures to certificates, all kinds of things. I want to say I kind of kept it like a scrapbook. So on the front cover, and I have my child's name and things like that covered up. So if you see like these little squares, that's what it is. It's just covering up sensitive information. I made in Canva like a big photo collage of all the things that he did. This is his high school binder. So this is grades 9 through 12. For my youngest back here, I have one for him for middle school. So he has one going from grades 6 through 8. So this one is the 9 through 12, and I still have 2 more classes to add to this, and I can barely open it. So I'm probably gonna have to purge some things in here. But I have all kinds of things. So I'm gonna try to do my best here. So I have everything from his senior pictures that we took in the front, And I just use page protectors to do this. That seemed to be the best way to do it. To, you know, like pieces of artwork that he did while he was in 9th grade and like cool things that we had on the wall. I don't get rid of that stuff. I really do keep it because it's like a good record. You know, it's just fun to look back at that type of stuff. So what I'm gonna do, because this thing is so large, I'm just going to turn the camera around and show it to you that way. So this is the front of the binder, and I just, you know, put a bunch of pictures in here of different field trips and things like that, like his pictures on the first day of school. And then in the front, because it's got a pocket, I've got, you know, different tests and things like that. I still have to go through this. I'm not completely finished with this yet, but I just have a bunch of pictures that we took of him. I thought that that was fun to do. And then I have these really great page dividers. I love these. And I love that they have a pocket. So if I have any loose things like artwork and things like that, that's a great place to put it. So here I have, and I put these in page protectors so it's just easier. So each section is a grade. So this is a major section. So this would be grade 9. And then I have all of his grade 9 work here. And I have it divided up in these smaller tabs here by subject. So like this whole big subject, or this whole section here is language arts. And then here is history. And then there's a couple other subjects back here. It's the same thing for grade 10. I have a section here, and then we have his certificate and things like that. I have a lot of his sample writings and things like that. And one thing to remember is you don't need to save everything. This is not all of the papers that he did all throughout the year. I wouldn't have the room for all of that, but I have samples. So one of the things that I have is math, and these are his, I just printed out like the grade book, and I put it in here so you can see like his average and all of the grades that he got. So I have a record of him doing math because it was online. I have different things for, this was American history from Generations. I have all of his tests and things like that. I have a letter he wrote to our congressman in here. And a lot of times what I like to do is I like to print out, or I like to take out that daily schedule in the front because it has all of the grades right here. And then I have like their final grade on that last page and how I calculated it as just kind of like a thing to keep in there so I remember what it was. So I keep all of his tests. So tests are a great thing to keep. I kept that, and these are his science ones. I think this was chemistry here. So all of his module tests and his labs. So like here's the lab reports from his book. I tore out the lab reports. And then any certificates of completion. So this was economics for 11th grade. I kept his certificate. Here is grade 11. And again, you know, another one of those math grade books I have in here. His introduction to public speaking and all of his speeches that he did for IEW's public speaking is in here. I have worksheet pages and things like that from Generations, just kind of different things that are in there. I have spelling tests that he did. I have all kinds of really cool things. This one's astronomy, and here is the health course that he took. This was the Bible class we all did. This was how Jesus built his church. We did all that together. Different quarterly tests for Apologia, that's in here. And here's another certificate of completion. This one was for the financial course from Dave Ramsey. Here's grade 12. And then again, I have the university ready writing. So I have a bunch of his writings that he did this year for that. A lot of the different things that he wrote throughout the year. I have his summaries. I have some of the stuff from his elective courses. I just literally pulled them right out of the workbooks. You can see like it's getting hard to close at this point. So again, lesson schedules for different things in Generations that he did, final exams, different things like that. I kept those in this book. So one of the big questions that I get asked a lot is, do you keep everything? Absolutely not. I do not keep everything. It will not fit in that binder. So no, do not keep everything. Just keep samples. My rule of thumb is a little bit at the beginning of the year, a little at the beginning, and a little at the end. So you can kind of see the progression of that subject, especially in things like writing, especially because we use structure and style. You can see the progression in how well that class has been working for them at the beginning of the year versus the end of the year. It is so different. Like the writers that they were at the beginning of the year are not the writers they are at the end of the year. And it has been such a phenomenal course for my kids. I love that class. On my downloads page, on my freebie page where you sign up for my email, you can get several weeks free of the IEW Structure and Style. And going back through these folders, I could really see how much structure and style has changed them as students, and because they're writing all of their papers, whether it's for science or history or English, those papers are written in structure and style format, and it is so good. I'm so proud of them. So if you need a writing curriculum, go check it out. It's totally free. So highly recommend that class. So that's the biggest question I've been asked is, how do you figure out what to keep and what to get rid of? A little bit at the beginning, a little bit at the end, and a little bit in the middle. But I also keep the tests because the tests really prove that you took the course, right? So I usually take out all the tests. Even if I don't take out any workbook pages, I always take the tests if there's tests involved. If there's not, like if it's something like a writing course, then a little at the front, little in the middle, little at the end, and it just kind of shows a progression if you have the room for it, you know. But again, you keep what you want. That's just what I do. So I also keep pictures in mine. As you can see, I have pictures all throughout my book. I keep a picture for each different field trip that we have. So I have pictures from Tennessee and from the Ark and the Creation Museum, from Florida, from Indiana. I have pictures from everything that we did during the time period of doing the work in there. So for my middle schooler, everything that he did from grade 6 through 8 is in there. I also keep some hobby pictures. So 3D printing is something that my kids do. I have some pictures of them doing 3D printing for classes and things like that. And I also have, like my youngest, he does ham radio stuff. So I have like ham radio pictures of him doing different contests and awards that he's won. Not just field trips, but like sports, like they both did karate for a while. I have them doing their karate tests and things like that, doing different practices and things. So I kind of keep it like as a scrapbook, like as a memento book, and it's been a really fun thing to do. I'm really, really glad that I did it. Let me know if you keep something like this. I would love to know what else you keep in your book, if you keep something different than what I do, or if your state requires it and you have like different rules of what you have to keep in your book. I would love to see and know like what your experience is behind it. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy homeschooling.